All right, you sexy sons of guns. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build £1 million TikTok shop brand. And I'm qualified to do that because I've got a brand that's currently doing $500,000 a month in sales and over $100,000 in net profit. I've got tons of videos on the channel if you want to go and check them out, and I show all of my results. So I'm going to be covering everything from start to finish, right? How you find the products, the best way to brand them so that they stand out. I'm going to show you where you can actually go on and source them. I'm going to talk about all the compliance stuff. And then I'm going to talk about how you actually launch these products, right? I'm going to basically cover absolutely everything. And if you watch this video and you're like, I want to work with this guy, I can help you build a brand from scratch. Or if you're an existing brand owner, I can help you scale that brand on TikTok. More information for that is in the video description, or go to honestfba.com. Right, so let's get into it. So first of all, the first step is obviously, how the hell do we find products, and what does a good product look like? This is the first step that people get stuck at, right? So let's have a look. So the first point here is that we are not really finding products, we're copying existing products that are already doing well. Now, if you change the way that you view product research and finding products from finding stuff and discovering stuff to just copying stuff, it's going to make your life 1,000 times easier. Now, you might think that what I'm saying is you launch, maybe let's say you copy this brand and you use the same logo or slightly different, you use a little bit of a different brand name, you use the same colors, and you're kind of like ripping it off. I'm not saying that you rip off brands, but what we are doing is copying things that we know are already successful. Now, some of the biggest brands in the world take this strategy, right? So, for example, one of the biggest mushroom coffee brands in the UK is a brand called Space Goods. Now, this is just a copycat of some of the biggest brands in the US, right? The guy that owns this is a guy called Matt, and he will tell you himself, if you listen to him on podcast, the way that he came up with this idea was he saw the brands in the US doing this, and then he brought this product and this brand to the UK market. Now, he did an amazing job of creating something new with the branding, so he didn't completely copy another single brand. But this was not a new product. It wasn't reinventing the wheel. It was simply copying something that already works. So that's the first thing. I want you to change the way that you view this and start to think about copying stuff rather than, starting from scratch and reinventing the wheel. The second point is you need to make sure that the products that you're looking at, they are high margin and they've got a big TAM. Now, TAM is a fancy sort of word for total addressable market, which might still not make sense to you. Basically, how big is the market? The best types of products have got a massive, massive market. Products on TikTok that work really well are products that have got a huge appeal. So if you think about mushroom coffee, how many people in the UK, for example, or worldwide drink coffee? Billions of people worldwide drink coffee, right? So this is an incredible type product to launch because it's got mass appeal. The wider the appeal of your products, the better they're going to do on TikTok, the more attention they're going to get, the easier it's going to be to go viral. So you want a high margin product that appeals to a huge amount of people. This is so important, and it's something that people really, really, really get wrong. Now, when I'm talking about margins, a good rule of thumb for working this out, if it costs you £5 to manufacture your mushroom coffee, let's say, and ship it to the UK or to the US, you need to be selling that product ideally for 5 times or more the cost. So if it costs £3 to manufacture and then £2 to ship that product to the UK and £5 in total, then you need to be selling it for at least £25. It's a simple rule of thumb, but when you're reaching out to your suppliers and you're getting those numbers and stuff, all you've got to do is calculate those numbers roughly and then think, okay, can I sell this product for 5 times? And the way that you understand that is by going onto TikTok and seeing all of the other brands, all of the other products, and what are they selling it for? Because if you look at TikTok and you see other people selling these products for £15, but you've got to sell it for £30, you're really going to struggle. So you've either got to look at reducing your costs or maybe selling another product. But this is super, super important. It needs to be high margin and it needs to have a big market, a big TAM. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to use Kalo data and basically every social media to find products that are going viral. Now, if you don't know what Kalo data is, I'm going to show you in a minute, but we're not just using these product research tools. Every time you're on Instagram, every time you're on TikTok, every time you're browsing Facebook, you want to be keeping an eye out for products. This is how Matt found Space Goods, because he saw this kicking off in the US and he brought that product to the UK. So you want to become a sponge for products and brands. Every time you see an advert, take note of it. Check out the website. Do some research. See what products and brands are doing really well in the US, and then look at bringing those products to the UK. You want to become a sponge that's just sucking in all of these brand ideas, all of these product ideas all of the time, right? If you're a beginner, my advice is to launch something quick. But if you're not a beginner and you're a little bit more experienced, I would recommend launching subscription-based products. Now, we've got two types of products. We've got single-use products like these AirPods. You buy them once, maybe you buy them again in another 5 years. I've got to buy another pair because the left one isn't working anymore because my dog put them in his mouth. This is a single-use product. Now, something like this drink or like the Space Goods product, that's a consumable product. People buy that, and then if they like it, they're going to buy it more than once, right? So our brand is a pet supplement brand. People buy the products for their pets, they like it, and then they subscribe. And that gives our brand a lot of value because you're not constantly looking for new customers, right? If you've got a subscription-based brand, it's very, very valuable. It's valuable in a couple of ways. First of all, it helps you get higher margins because the subscription-based revenue compounds over time. The second thing is if you want to sell that brand in the future, which we've got multiple people within our community have done that, it's going to be more valuable to potential buyers if you have that subscription-based revenue. But my recommendation is don't always go after subscription-based stuff if you are brand new. Don't always go after supplements. If you're brand new, just pick something that's got existing viral demand that you can see doing well in other markets, copy it and launch it in a different market. Get to market quick and learn the ropes. If you're a beginner, you don't need to obsess over your first product. You just need to get to market and get that experience of launching a brand. Then you can move on to launching something bigger and better. And that's how you build $1 million brand. So you're going to copy existing products. You're going to make sure they're high TAM and high margin. You're going to use tools like Halo Data that I'm going to show you in a minute. And if you are a beginner, I would recommend just launching pretty much anything. If you're not a beginner, I would recommend launching subscription-based products because subscription-based brands are absolutely awesome. So the tool that I keep talking about is this tool here, right? It's a tool called Halo Data. So I'm going to show you a product that I think has got potential. I'm not saying it's the perfect product, but I think it's got potential, right? So if you come across the Halo Data and you go to the top here, you're going to see all of the best-selling products basically in either the US or the UK. You can change up here which country you want to look at. So if we come to the first page, what we're going to see is all of the best-selling products. Now, this is in the UK, right? It says the US up here, but for some reason it's not. It messes up sometimes. So you can see the top one right now is this fan. And that's obviously the top selling products on TikTok right now because in the UK it's summer and it's hot, right? But what we want to find products that have got demand all year round. We don't really want to be selling products that are just seasonal because once it's not hot in the UK, which is not going to take very long because it's only hot for like 2 weeks of the year, like no one's going to buy this anymore, right? So if you move fast and you do this in the right way and you time the market well, then you can make a lot of money doing this. But I wouldn't recommend doing this if you're a beginner because it's very difficult to time the market. It's probably going to take you way longer to get into this than you first think. Now, I found a product that I think is very, very interesting. This is a product that's selling in the US market, and it's absolutely killing it. You can see it's doing over £800,000 a month. It's doing 31,000 items sold for an average price of £26. It's basically a neck and eye tightening cream, whatever. It's some sort of cream that you add to your neck and it makes you look younger. I don't know. I don't use this sort of stuff, obviously. So the beauty of this is it's probably going to be high margin because this sort of stuff isn't expensive to produce and it's got a massive, massive TAM. Think of how many women in the UK care about stuff like this. That's why skincare is such a huge, huge niche and there's billion-dollar brands because so many women want to buy, products like this that help them tighten and I don't know, make them look younger, right? So if we come down on Halo Data, one of the interesting things that you can see with this tool is you can see all of the ads and all of the videos that are making this product go viral. So basically what we've got here is we've got a product that's probably high margin that I would have to check out a little bit later on, but we know it's got a huge TAM and we know it's already doing really well. It's already got great demand. It's already proven to do really well in the US market. All we've got to do is launch an alternative version of this in the UK market. So what I did is I came over to the UK market using Kalo data and I searched, right? And what you can see there are some products in here that are basically ripping this off. So this one's doing £1,000 a month. There's not really anybody doing it super well, right? So when I click on this one, I think this is basically just a Chinese copycat, right? So it's I don't know if it's the brand name is like Roigi or Hoigi or something. And the brand name here is YCZ, right? So basically, this is just a complete rip-off. Now, this is what you don't do. You don't want to just completely rip it off. You're not just using the same packaging and adding another brand name. That's why these guys are not crushing it. They're doing really shit. So the reason I think this is interesting is because you can see in the US, this is absolutely killing it. But in the UK, nobody is really doing this, right? And the reason that they're not really doing it is because they're just copying the brand and making it look exactly the same. And they're not executing on it well. They're not doing the launch right. They're not doing the content right, which is what I'm going to show you a little bit later on in the video. So this is the type of opportunity that I would absolutely pounce on if I was starting a brand from scratch. We know it's probably going to be a high margin. We know it's already doing well in another niche, another market. All we got to do is basically copy it with a bit of a spin, right? So let's move on to the branding part now and see how can we actually brand a product like this, right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make a brand that stands out. Now that sounds simple, but so many people get this wrong. You want to look at all of the other competitors. You want to look on Amazon. You want to look at the competitors that are already selling a similar product. And you want to go, well, I don't want to look like them, because you've got to imagine your product on a supermarket shelf. Obviously, you're not going to do that probably for a while. But you need to imagine that a customer is staring at 15 different products. And you want to imagine what's going to make them look at your product and make them think that's the one that I want. So you don't want to copy existing brands and look the same. If I'm going to launch this, I'm not going to copy the way it looks. I'm going to make something that stands out. That's the first point about branding products. The second point is you can sell to a different demographic of people. Now, this doesn't really apply to this product unless you spin it on its head and you target men with this product. Now, I would have to do research into the UK market, for example, and see how many men are buying moisturizing cream and all of that type of stuff. But this perhaps, at first, I didn't think this could apply, but this could be an example of where you can sell the same product, but to a different demographic of people. Now, I don't think with this product, you would have to do that, because the reason that I would say to do that is if I saw a ton of brands in the UK killing it with this product, then I would say maybe you should come in and target a different demographic. But none of these brands are doing really well because they suck at TikTok Shop. So you can basically copy this exact product, put a different brand on it, and crush it in the UK, right? So you don't really need to do this. But this is a great way of standing out with your brand and your products, is taking the same product and marketing it to a different set of people. An example of this is creatine. So creatine used to be marketed towards gym bros and people that, work out. Now there's more and more research that creatine is great for cognitive stuff, right? It helps your brain and it's great for older people. So what I would do if I was launching a creatine brand is I would target older people, and I would make the brand and the content targeting older people. I wouldn't make it targeting gym bros. I wouldn't compete with everybody else. I would target a different demographic. All right, so next up, we have got ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is probably the best invention that I've ever seen in my short 36-year lifespan, right? It's absolutely insane. And if you're not using it, then I don't know what the freaking hell you're doing with your life, right? So you can use it to basically build a brand from scratch. So all you need to do is take an existing product image, something like this, and you need to give it to ChatGPT and basically say, I'm looking to launch an alternative of this brand. I want you to give me some ideas for how I can stand out, whatever it is, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, create me a mock-up of a new version of this product. I want to really stand out. It needs to be sleek, modern, colorful, and vibrant. So you can literally give ChatGPT an image of an existing brand, an existing product, and it will, in a few minutes, it will mock up an idea for how you could design that brand yourself. Now, it's not going to give you the absolute final version, but when you go to speak to your suppliers, you can give it these images. You can give your suppliers these images from ChatGPT, and you can basically be like, look, this is a mock-up. Can you get your in-house designers to create something final? 9 times out of 10, they will be able to help you. If they can't help you, Then just go and find a packaging designer on something like Fiverr or an Upwork. Give them this, what ChatGPT gives you, and then just see if they can tweak it, because this is going to do 90% of the work. So where you used to have to find expensive designers and pay them, $3,000-4,000 to create you a brand book and all of that stuff, we paid nearly £6,000 for our brand originally, and we could have done it in ChatGPT and then just used a cheaper designer to sort of tweak it. So especially as a beginner, right, you want to do everything as lean as possible. So you don't want to be wasting money on fancy design. Now have a look at this. That already to me looks incredible, right? Now the question is, does this sort of psychedelic branding work for, face cream? I don't know. I would have to take a look and do a bit more research. But this shows you how powerful ChatGPT is, because I don't know, to me, that looks better than the original. It's still loading, but I love the colors of that. I can imagine that really taking off on TikTok, because you see a woman, she comes on camera and she's doing this with something that looks like that. That's really going to stand out. And that's effectively all you're looking for. You're looking to stand out. Now look at that. That looks to me absolutely incredible. That's blown me away, because sometimes ChatGPT is going to churn out a load of crap, but that looks incredible. So the second part of what we're doing, guys, once we found a product opportunity, we're branding it. You want to make something that stands out. You want to sell it potentially to a different demographic. So maybe I could look at marketing this to men. And then you're just going to use ChatGPT to come up with something like I've just shown you in 3 minutes that actually, to me, looks absolutely incredible. I can't actually believe how good that is. That's blown my mind. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to source it. We've obviously got to find a reliable supplier. Now, there's a few points here that are really important. The first one is you can use Alibaba or local suppliers. Now, I found this product on Amazon, right? So this is the product here on Amazon, this YZZ brand. This is doing 10,000 plus units just on Amazon, right? Because it's killing it on TikTok. And what happens when you kill it on TikTok is people go to Amazon and they buy from Amazon. So let's have a look how much revenue. So it's doing 200K a month on Amazon, and it's doing like 800K a month. So it's doing over $1 million probably across Amazon and TikTok. This is why this is such a big opportunity, right? So this product is crushing it on Amazon. So I came down here and I clicked on this. And what I can see is that this is sold by a Chinese company, right? So chances are that this product is sourced in China and it's made in China. Now, there's a couple of caveats, right? You obviously need to make sure that the compliance side of the products that you're selling are legit, right? So you can do that by asking your supplier for all the necessary certificates. Now, the number one way to sort of do this is to use ChatGPT. You want to be using ChatGPT to make sure that the supplier that you're working with has got all the right documents. You can just literally ask it, if I'm looking to sell a skin cream in the UK, what documents do I need? What do I get from my supplier? How do I get them? And what do I do? Right? So it's going to give you all of that information that you can get from your supplier, right? To make sure that they've got legit products that have actually got in them what's supposed to be in them. Now, you can take another route here. You can go locally in the EU or in the US and find local manufacturers that make skincare products and skin creams and stuff, right? And the way that you can do that is using ChatGPT. Go into ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm looking for a skincare product. I'm looking to launch it. I'm looking for a manufacturer that can make this, this, and this. Give me the 15 top skincare manufacturers in Europe. Give me all the contact information and write me an email that I can send to them reaching out. So it's going to give you all that information. And in the space of 10 minutes, you're going to have an email and 15 people to contact. It's not that difficult. The next part of this is just using Google. You can go on Google and search for skincare manufacturers, Europe, skincare manufacturers, US, or you can use Alibaba. Alibaba is fast, it's easy, it's simple, but the downside is with getting stuff from China that goes in your body or on your body is there's the compliance issues. There's been big scandals with some of the supplement brands getting stuff from China and it turning out that there's not actually anything in those supplements. So that's what you want to avoid. But ask ChatGPT what compliance documents you need to sell whatever product it is that you're looking to sell, and then just make sure that your supplier has those documents and that you can get them verified. And when you want to add your products to TikTok, you're going to have to verify a few things, but this is where everything comes back to ChatGPT and just using it to understand all of these things that you need and check that your supplier has got all of these things, basically. So we found our product, we've branded it, it looks really great, we've found a supplier, we've got all the numbers, it all makes sense. We're going to then ship those products from China, from the EU manufacturer, and we're going to get them into TikTok's warehouses, either in the UK or in the US. Now, TikTok have got warehouses all over the countries, all over the US, all over the EU, right? So you can ship your products there and they will deliver everything for you. They'll do all of the orders, all of the customer returns, they do everything in a similar way as Amazon FBA, where Amazon's warehouses are full of people that help you pick and pack all your products so you never have to touch them. So the final part, once we've got our products over into the 3PLs, into the warehouses of TikTok, is we're going to launch it, right? And there's a few key things that we're going to do here. The first one is we are just going to copy existing viral videos. Now, to go back to Kalo data and to what I said earlier, you have got the greatest gift that I've ever seen in e-commerce in the 6 or 7 years that I've been doing it. You can literally find a product like this, and then you can click on this tab, and it's going to show you all of the videos that have already gone viral for this product. So this video here got 10 million views. 10 million views on this product, and all it is a woman with an iPhone talking about the product, using the product. You have got everything that you need. You've copied the brand. It's now time to launch it and copy all of the existing videos. So as your product is being manufactured, you want to be recruiting creators like this to create content. And you don't want to be telling them, hey, make me a load of videos. You want to be giving them these videos and telling them to copy them word for word. Because if I launch this product in the UK and I know it's doing well in the US, I am literally copying every single one of these viral videos, either myself or I'm getting content creators to do it for me, right? So this is the first thing. You're going to copy these existing viral videos. And if you can, you're going to make that content yourself. And if you can't make that content yourself, you're going to hire 10 plus creators on retainer, and you're going to create a closed group either on Facebook or on TikTok. And you're going to create this mini little army of content creators. Now, I know you're asking, where the hell do I find these content creators? Well, there's two ways. The first one is using a community like ours. So we've got a community of over 1,000 qualified and trained content creators that you can use to launch your products on TikTok or to scale your products if you've already got a brand. So this is our sister community. We've got two communities, one called Honest FBA, one called Honest Creators, right? So you can use a community like this, or you can use a tool like, what's it called? UpTK. I always forget the name. You can use a tool like UpTK to basically do outreach automatically to contact creators to say, hey, look, I've got this brand. I'm looking to do this. I'm going to give you this commission. You're trying to recruit an army of content creators. You can either do that through a community like ours, or you can use a bot or a tool like this that's going to send mass amounts of outreach messages to content creators that you think are a good fit, given the filters that you give to it. And you're going to find and recruit as many content creators as you can. Ideally, before you launch the product, you want to have at least 5 to 10 content creators, and you want to pay them a small retainer to make you a video a day for at least a month. And you're going to give those content creators the exact videos that you've already seen go viral in the US market. So everything that I'm talking about here is arbitrage. You're arbitraging the product and you're arbitraging the content. So those viral views that all of these content creators are going to make, they're going to create this viral effect. You're going to get videos like the ones that we've seen here. You're going to get videos that pop up and get millions of views. They're talking about your product. They're mentioning your brand. They're going to buy that product on TikTok. And then a bunch of these people are going to come across to Amazon and buy it on Amazon as well. My camera really went off. So let's keep going. So when your videos go viral on TikTok, you're going to make sales on TikTok Shop, but a bunch of those people, they're going to come across to Amazon and they're going to buy your products on Amazon. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you make a £1 million TikTok brand. You could literally go out today and launch this exact product. And I'm incredibly confident that you could get this to at least 80 to 90 to 100,000 pounds a month if you do this in the right way. If you hire content creators, if you get a brand and a product that stands out, if you copy those viral videos, and if you hire 5 to 10 creators and you make content yourself, I do not see any reason why this couldn't be £1 million opportunity. And I've just laid it out completely for free. Now, if you do want help either scaling an existing brand or launching your own brand, check out the video description. We've got the best community for helping you launch brands like this. We've literally got tens of people right now launching products and brands across Amazon and TikTok. And our own brand is absolutely crushing it. We show everything within the community. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.